Welcome to the Industry Show. I'm your host, Nitin Bajaj, and joining me today is Prateek Joshi. Hey, welcome on the show, Prateek.
Hey, Nathan. Thank you for having me on the show. Excited to be here.
Great to have you here. So let's get started with who is Prateek?
I am the founder of Plutoshift, and over a period of time, I've published 13 books on artificial intelligence. I'm a big sports fan, right? And football is my favorite. Um, really enjoy food, especially sushi, and some of the best conversations I've had always started with breaking bread together. So love food. With respect to career and life. There's a Japanese concept called ikigai, which I subscribe to. It's just a guiding principle. Imagine a Venn diagram with four intersecting circles, right? Something you love, something you're good at, right? Something that'll get you paid, and something that's good for the world. And if you find something that sits at the intersection of these four circles, it's just you'll find your inner harmony. And it's been it's it's been fantastic, right? Having that in my life. And once you find that, it'll just help you keep going, right? And you'll outlast all of them. So that's something that I live by.
That is awesome. And it's, finding the purpose of life is to have a life of purpose.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, exactly. That's
yeah.
great.
So tell us about Plutoshift. What is it? When did you guys start and who are your customers? And, walk us through that journey.
Definitely. So Pluto Shift, we automate data workflows for operations teams. And it's built for companies that have a physical footprint, meaning they have huge, expansive operations infrastructure, and the companies in food and beverage, chemicals, manufacturing, renewables, right? And we launched this company with the core motivation was, how do we bring AI to the physical world? It has done a lot of good in the ether, like search engines or e-commerce, but when it comes to the physical world, it's been lagging behind. So that was the core motivation behind launching it. And our ideal company, right, to do our customers to do operational tasks such as monitoring the performance, detecting anomalies, internal reporting. It's just to do that, they have to log into multiple systems, download the CSV, do some computations, create some Excel workflow, and then pipe it. It's very manual, right? So that we automate this work
Mhm.
with machine learning, and we centralize their data, and we have pre-built workflows to provide like a central source of truth for the entire team.
Tell us a little more about the scale of your operations, the locations or the industries that you mentioned a couple of those, but
Yeah.
any specific use cases that you would like to highlight?
Yeah, definitely. So just to give a dive a little bit deeper, we when we launched in 2017 with a 3.5 million seed round, and in September of 2019 we raised our $8 million Series A,
Mhm.
and 2020 was all things considered, it was a big year for us, right? So we went from deploying at a couple of sites to many hundreds, right? And
Yeah.
we're crossing thousand now. So and to a good example of a use case is, let's say you're a beverage company, and you use, say, 2 million gallons of water to make your product, right? What you do is you buy water from the city, you clean it, and then you use it in your product. Now, to cleaning that 2 million gallons of water a day, it's a big undertaking, right? So now the membranes that clean the water, imagine you have 100 membranes, and all of them are, you bought them at different stages, they have cleaned different amount of water. So keeping an eye on the 100 different membranes, doing it manually is a big task,
Mhm.
right? And sometimes what happens is some membrane starts fouling, some membrane, the permeability starts going down, some membrane starts sucking up more energy, and it's just doing it and finding these things manually is very difficult. So what we do is we connect to the data sources, meaning sensor data, ERP, financials, and electricity. So we pull the data via API into our platform. And what the operator or the manager, what they get is a like a monitoring dashboard. It's cloud based, and you can access it via mobile or your web app, and you can just know that, hey, most of the times things are working fine. But
Right.
hey, membrane number 72 is acting up. Right?
Yeah.
Instead of spending 6 hours to get there,
Mhm.
right, with a click of a button. And with respect to our team, we are 35 people spread
Mhm.
across Palo Alto, California, and Denver, Colorado, and we have a dev team in India as well, and we are growing that at this point.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have any, just a ballpark, what's kind of the efficiency or the return on an investment, return on capital, if someone were to get your product, what kind of returns should they see over a year to 5 year term?
Yeah, yeah. No, our customers are seeing, because their operations are big,
Hmm.
right? The ROI is, meaning if you are spending 10 million a year on
Hmm.
electricity, right? You're now spending 8 million, right? And that's just a part of it. Meaning, it's just, and imagine doing that for the enterprise-wide operations.
Hmm.
That's when it gets really interesting. Or on the other side, what they're saying is, hey, we already budgeted this amount for electricity. Now help us produce more. Meaning, hey, if we are producing a million bottles a year, right,
Hmm.
help us produce 1.2 million, right? It's just basically output per unit of resource consumed.
Yeah.
That's what we optimize with for our
Those are some
customers.
pretty amazing numbers. So,
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, very excited that we are able to drive actual measurable results for our customers.
mhm.
Yeah.
I think, what is the one big challenge you guys are facing right now?
Yeah. So 2020, funny thing is, it kind of it stress tested
Mhm.
our engine, our business engine, in every which way, right? Call it like demand gen, new business, customer engagement,
Mhm.
data science, technology, engineering, DevOps. Basically, all those pieces have to work for a customer to derive value,
Yeah.
and our playbook is working, right? We kind of made sure that we remained focused on this one item, right? We didn't get distracted, we didn't try like doing other things, we just remained focused, and it just worked, right? So then in the last 6 months our bookings grew by 4x, right?
Wow.
And the second half of 2020 just went crazy. So now we our biggest I wouldn't call it a challenge, more like it's the current reality is we got to keep up with the customer
Right.
deployments, right? We are currently serving enterprise deals,
Mhm.
and so we are scaling up our solutions team, our delivery team. Basically they've done a great job so far, but physically to deploy so many customers and so many sites, you just need people on it, right? So that's what it's a good problem to have, right? But
It's
it is a lot
essentially
of
the
work.
what you would call the growing pains, right?
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's we are closing faster, which is great. But now we got to keep up and kind of bring the right people on board.
And on the flip side, what is the biggest opportunity you're working on right now?
Yeah, in a data business like ours, right? Centralizing the data can get really complex, right? So when it comes to handling enterprise data, especially, there's a range of tasks you need to do, like verifying data quality, right? Pre-processing it, prepping it, detecting anomalies, seeing if there is missing data, training the models, retraining the models on a regular basis. And the list goes on and on. But for a data platform to work well, these tasks need to happen on a continuous basis, which means that a human can do it, but automating these tasks can help us deploy faster. So the biggest opportunity we are focusing on right now is using automation for what we call data ops, right? All of this falls under data operations.
Right.
So small part of it is automated, big chunk is still, we're getting there. So that is the opportunity we are targeting. And by doing that, not only is it will it make us more efficient, it'll help our customers too, because we can deploy faster, right? So yeah, that's what we are working on.
And are you able to either learn from those things or anonymize that data and help your customers that may be in similar industries or operations? Hey, we learned this. and without disclosing the name or the operations of the customers, here is something you may want to look at. So are you kind of getting into that consultative space?
We uh, in this space, we don't share data or even the learnings from customer
Yeah.
A to customer B, mostly because it's their proprietary data,
Proprietary, yeah.
meaning they've done it because they did the hard work of setting up a data collection system, right? Having a data warehouse. So that is hard work, and it is proprietary. So what we do is, once the data we take that data, and even the processed form of the data or whatever we have for that customer, it remains silo, meaning
Yeah.
it's only for that customer. Now,
Yeah.
when we go from customer to customer, the only thing that remains common is our engine or the platform,
Mhm.
right? Meaning the nuts and bolts that we have built to see that, hey, how do you do performance monitoring
Mhm.
of physical infra, right? That is that call it range of tools, the AI algorithms that we have built, the nuts and bolts of data ops. So all of that goes. But once we deploy for a customer, it kind of completely remains with them, and it's sealed off. Now, the good thing here is, data is becoming a competitive advantage, right? It's almost like we provide the engine, but it's their fuel, right? A good
Yeah.
quality fuel can do great for an engine, and that's our job, is to produce an outcome that our customer thinks is valuable, right? In
Mhm.
fact, the company at our stage should focus we focus all of our energy on that exclusively. Now, how we get there initially, right? Sometimes it's, you got to listen to the customer, and more often than not, it's not about, hey, here's the right solution. It's more about picking the right problem,
Mhm.
right? It's almost like when we go and listen to the customer, the right sure, I mean, let's say, I'll give an example. When we started working with the customer in the food processing space, they they wanted to, hey, we want to reduce our electricity consumption. It's
Mhm.
been going up and up for the last 3 years, and they just want to reduce that. And the data was spread across ERP and sensors and the third system. um, obviously the solution is, okay, yeah, we'll come in and we'll reduce our electricity. But actually the heart of the problem was, they just didn't know how to pull the data and centralize it. Meaning, if I tell you that membrane number 62
Mhm.
is, the permeability is going down, yeah, you know what to do. You know what to do, and you'll stop the leakage of electricity, right? That's, you know what to do. But that was not the problem. The problem was, we just needed like an elegant way to pull the data,
Mhm.
centralize it, and pipe it, right? And then the operator would know what to do. So it's subtle, but it's like, instead of having a black box dictate the actions, we
Yeah.
solved the problem
A
for them. So
visibility issue. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So that's the kind of the lesson learned is, we need to produce an outcome that is valuable to them, right? It's like the black box is not valuable, even though it could reduce electricity consumption. It's just not valuable. What they think is valuable is pull the data, automate it, centralize it, and pipe it. Our operators, they know what to do, right? So it's a little bit of a subtle learning that has helped us enormously, right,
Yeah.
across these customers. Yeah.
Do you have another example of, you know, a kind of a lesson learned that has helped you gain more traction with your customers or has resulted in a success story?
Yeah. And this is one example where we did end up working
Mhm.
with the customer, and they ended up deploying more with us. Another example would be, when kind of learning to be useful, right? Not as a company, but as individuals. Because initially, the first 10 customers, or the first 20 customers, they come to you not because you're Oracle, or not because you have like
Yeah.
a 40-year history, right? They come to you because they they need help in specific areas, right?
A
Meaning
problem
that
solution. Right.
nobody wakes up thinking, oh, okay, I let me talk to Plutoshift. Nobody
Right.
nobody wakes up thinking about that, right?
Yeah.
So I think what we have also learned is building those relationships with call it the VP of operations or director of operations, and just learning to be useful on a day-to-day basis. It goes beyond having a good product. It goes beyond being good at customer service, right? It's about just understanding, okay, 2021, what's the exact mandate, what's your job, and how can I be useful. Sometimes it's like sometimes it's just listening, like a consultant, meaning let's talk about it. And this actually, I'll take a specific example. We are working with the big chemicals company, and this was the approach that they thought. I mean, after we signed the deal, they said this is why we signed this long term deal with you, is because our problems are not as clean
Mhm.
as you want it to be, right? It's not like you can't go to a clean cut generic tool, you
Right.
subscribe to it and starts working, right? So it's more about the initial part. The foundation is always about just knowing the setup,
Mhm.
understanding it, and then kind of our
Build it.
tool is one way to solve the problem, right?
Right.
So for in this chemicals company, right, it was more about um, how do we meet the EPA requirements
Mhm.
while minimizing our cost.
Right.
Oh, and also we have three other constraints. So basically, it's like it doesn't look like a data centralization problem, but it is. But it was our job to map it onto that, right? So it's funny. So these are another thing that at least I personally learned, and our team is really good at it too.
And it sounds like this whole process, this listening to the customer, understanding,
Yeah,
building
yeah,
the tech alongside it as you understand the business and the pain areas.
yeah,
Sounds a lot of I'm sure it's challenging but also very exciting. And then to be able to see tangible results pretty much
yeah.
instantaneously. It's
Yeah,
that's
no,
where
I think
you're
it's
yeah.
a very simple philosophy that at least again a learning is that you need to figure out how to make money for your customers.
Right.
It's as simple as that, and nobody does it out of the goodness of their heart, right? Nobody does it because it's the cool thing to do. You got to figure out. I mean, they might do a pilot because they think it's cool, but really for a sustainable, for an
Right.
enduring partnership, right? You got to figure out how your customer can drive revenue from this tool, right? And that's the other thing that we have become really good at, is just highlighting that specific thing. And also, you know we also kind of, to be honest with ourselves, we ask, are we solving our customers most important problem, right? Not the second most, not the top five, but the most important problem, because that's the thing that gets their attention, right? And if you solve that, it's a great way to establish a relationship. So yeah.
So true. Let's shift gears and
Yeah.
talk about you.
Yeah.
And the way we want to do that is through one line life lessons.
Hmm.
We'll
Yeah.
start with one and then, we'll catch up on the rest. So, what are some one line life lessons that have come to define you and shape you and help you in making decisions at important stages in your life, personally, professionally? So, let us walk through those.
Yeah, definitely. um and there are a few different um, like one line life lessons that have come to help me. But number one, um, have a singular focus on
Mhm.
simplicity, right? Just simple things are easy to understand, easy to explain, right? Nobody actively craves complexity, right? So every time I personally, if I embark on, call it a project, an initiative, anything, right? um, I like to keep things very simple, because simple products have, they have the potential to become part of our daily lives, whereas clever products, right, they don't. So that's the first one. Second is, invest your time in what you're really good at,
Mhm.
and hire experts for everything else, right? It's just time is your most precious resource, right?
Mhm.
So, and it's a resource that needs to be deployed for maximum returns, right? That's how I think about it. So
Makes sense.
if I go and try to do anything that I'm not good at, right? Like, it's just not a good return on my time.
Right.
um Third, always tell a story, right?
Mhm.
Stories are powerful. People remember stories, and if you get good at it, right? A great storyteller, they don't just provide like nice descriptions. They end up changing our view of the world, right?
Right.
So stories are just powerful. So that's the third one. Number four, train yourself to find undervalued assets,
Mm.
right? It's
Nice.
especially for a resource constrained startup.
Yeah.
It's a spectacularly useful skill, because we as a young company, you always have to do so much more with
Mhm.
so little, and which means you got to get and it's true, especially when it comes to
Yeah.
people, right? You got to get A players
Mhm.
who, who kind of, who for some reason the market is undervaluing. So it's a very definitely a useful skill to develop. Number five, be relentlessly consistent.
Mm.
Right? Just show up every day. Like, just show up every day. Be there every single day, and you'll outlast all of them. Right? That's how you win. Right? You just don't. There's a very nice there's a very nice saying in the finance world. I think Nassim Nicholas Taleb, the guy who wrote Black Swan, he mentioned, "Don't blow up." Right? No matter how well you do, but if in a specific year you blow up, you're done. Right?
Yeah.
If you, it's like, imagine a long sequence of numbers where the result is you're multiplying. A single zero means the whole thing becomes a zero. It doesn't matter how well you did, right?
Yeah.
So the, that's why I think relentless consistency has been. It just works, right? Just be
Yeah.
there. Don't die, and in the end, you'll win.
Yes.
It's pretty straightforward, but yeah,
Love those. And, I love how all of this ties into the basic framework we started off with, Ikigai, right?
yeah, yeah,
Knowing what you're good at, knowing what your interests are, tying that with not just at an individual level, but I also see that coming across from your customers' perspective.
yeah.
Love it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been very nice in terms of kind of learning. And again, all of this is just part of it is instinct. A big part of it is just learning, right? You go and you interact with people, and obviously I've been fortunate enough to meet some really great
Mhm.
people along this journey, and it's been amazing.
And I must say this: you're very humble to say the things you say. It's I think in my experience, what I've come to learn is you attract the kind of people you want to be and you want to
Right,
be with. And
right.
people see that. People see the simplicity, but also the wisdom, the clarity
Hmm.
of thought, and
Right.
they get attracted to you. So it's kind of a self-feeding, self-fulfilling prophecy, which if you're going up, which you are, it works out great.
Yeah, yeah. Nothing. And thank you for the kind words. And yes, that's what I try is, can I attract the right type of people to, be it the company or in my sphere,
Mhm.
because it's very true that if you just you are the average of the people you hang out with, right?
Yeah.
And that's why if you surround yourself with great people, right, it's just it's at least it's the right direction, right? So it's something that I strive hard to do, and thank you again for the kind words.
Hey, look, my average went up. You're in my circle now. So thanks for that.
Yeah,
I
thank
think it's
you.
been an absolute pleasure. We would love to continue and check in on your journey as you scale newer
Hmm.
heights.
Yeah,
Thank you again for making the time to be with us and would love to stay in touch.
fantastic. Thanks, Nathan, for having me on the show. And yeah, I would love to stay in touch.
Our pleasure.
Uh,